Welcome to qvalidation.com. So, in our Selenium Java video series, we have seen how we can generate a extent report by using Selenium and Java, and then we have seen how we can create a testng class, and then we fit the extent report into the testng class. So here, so just to quickly recap what we have seen in our previous video, let me open the test case sample here. So here, as I told, to fail a test scenario, then we have to write a try catch, and under that catch we have to explicitly fail that particular test case if our test case fails. Okay, because extent report don't have its own failing scenario, so you have to specify where it is. So I have already told in my previous video that it is not a good practice to write in each test case pass or fail scenario. So we have to make something so that it will fail automatically. So for that, we have another option, that is testNGListeners. Okay, so how we have seen what I call integrating the extent report with your testng class. Today we will see how we can fit with a testNGListener. So we will have again another class, that is testNGListener, and that will take care of the pass and fail scenario. And then we have some more what you call flexibilities over writing the scenario here. So we will see that one by one. Okay, now if you have not watched our previous video, the starting point of the extent report setup and how we can generate a sample report, you can watch that video. I'll put that into the description below. Okay, so let's get started. Now here what we will do, so I'll try to replicate this one to a real-time scenario, even though I don't have a real-time what you call website, but we will try to replicate the same thing. So here, as you can see, I have mentioned the driver here. So now what we can do, we and now okay, if you talk about in a real-time scenario, what actually happens, we can't write in each test case like this. Okay, system dot set property driver equal to new chrome driver. Now this is not a good practice, because let's say if you have hundreds of test cases, or let's say thousands of test cases, so in each and every test case you can't go and write this one. So we will have a generic what you call class which will hold this one. So as soon as your test will start, this should execute automatically. So before test I can write it, but there are few demerits, like you have to always call this before test method, so that each test will be executed. I mean each test execution before to that this will execute. But we will use the testng listener, as I told. This is not only to save this try catch block, we will use testng listener, but we have to what you call, there are certain things that we have to initialize once the framework starts. So that time we will use the testng listener. So testng listener is one of the what you call powerful feature provided by testng, so that you can set it up the beginning of the test execution, end of the execution, while your test is executing, then how do you perform all those things. Okay, so without wasting time, let me create a class. Okay, so let's say this one is a test listeners. Okay, now about the testng listener, I have already provided a video so that you can watch that. So that will be a starting point for you guys if you are not familiar with the testng listener. So directly I will get into the testng listener today. Okay, so what I will do here, so there are two testng listeners that I'm going to use. So it means that two classes that I'm going to use. One is your iTest listener, and another is I invoke method listener. Okay, so now what I will do, I will implement those two what do you call testng listeners into this, because those are interfaces, actually those are not what you call classes. So what I can say here, implements iTest. So if you do a control space, you will get the iTest listener here. Okay, and another one is my I invoke method, I guess. Yes, I method invoke listener. Okay. Now, because it is interface, I can have multiple inheritance here. If it is a class, then I cannot do multiple inheritance. Okay. Now here it is throwing some error. So let's see what is that. So here it is saying that add unimplemented methods. Because these both are interfaces, so we have certain methods that are not implemented or unimplemented. So quickly let me go and implement those methods. So here it goes. So you will get a certain what you call your methods that I'm going to what you call implement those things. Okay. So before invocation, now what exactly this does, whenever your test will execute, whenever your test particular test will execute, so before it will execute the first line of code, what it will do, it will first go to this. So whatever logic you will write here, that will be executed first. Okay. So here without wasting time, let me delete this one, and what I will say, if method, that is the parameter it will send, so whenever it will execute, it will what you call execute that, I mean you will get the method variables value. So if that is a test method, then what you need to do, so as we have done, so in our previous from test stamp a sample to, I have made a test sample extent, right? This time I will copy this one and I'll create another class. Let me paste it, and here okay, one second. Okay, let me save this one and then test sample extent, copy and then paste it here. Okay, and we will rename this one to, yeah, listeners. Okay, so when there is a listener, how it will happen, that we will see. Now we are dealing with the test sample extent listeners and the test listeners. Okay, ignore the test sample extent for time being. We will be interested now into this. Now as I told, this whole set I don't need here. So what I will do, I'll put it here, because as I told, whatever you want to execute before your what you call test will be executed, you can mention here. Now any number of methods you have, you don't need what you call again to what you call write it in every test method. Okay, because this testNG listener will take care of that. We will resolve those errors. So now I don't need this one. Okay, so we have reduced some line of code in each what you call test case now. Okay, now here it is throwing some error. Okay, now what we will do here, so let me put here like this, web driver. Okay, fine. Okay, and here let's import this one. Now what I will do, so this driver I don't want to make here only. So what I will make this driver I'll what do you call, I will set I will put a setter and getter on that. So let me show you how we can do that. So I'll create a class here. Okay, and I will say driver context, some name I'm giving here. Okay, so this will hold my driver. So here I will set and get the driver. Okay, I'll show you how to do that. So here what I will do, I'll create a static web driver some name. Okay, I'm giving driver one, let's say, and let me import this one. And here what I will do, I'll create a public class which will return WebDriver, and I will say the method name is getDriver. Now what exactly this will do, this will return the driver one. So whenever throughout your what you call throughout your framework, whenever you what you uh, call this method, it will give you the driver object. Okay, let's see what is that. Public, okay, sorry, public, this will be static. Actually this is not class. Fine. Okay, now here this is getter. Now I will make a setter, so that as soon as I will initialize the driver object, I will throw it to this class. Okay, So public static, and here I don't need to what you call return anything. I just need to assign that driver. Now here what I will do, I'll pass that web driver. Okay. Now here what I will say, driver1 equal to driver. Fine. So it's simple as that. Now here what I will do into this listener. So as soon as I will do WebDriver equal to, now I don't need this one on the outside. I can fit here actually. Okay. Let it keep like this. And here what I will do, I'll call this that particular class dot set WebDriver, because here I need to set that WebDriver. Now wherever I need this particular driver, what I can do, driver context dot get driver, I can do that. Okay. So here I mean in this class I can use driver. Okay, in this method actually. So let's say if I want to use here, so let's say for example I want to use the driver. Let's say if I want to what do you call say print a screenshot of that page, so that I need a driver object, right? So I can just call like this. So here I can even get whatever the driver. So actually driver will work. So wherever you want to use a driver, you can just say driver context dot get driver. Fine. Okay. Now, okay, now here what I need to do here, our WebDriver get and set is done. Now we need to resolve some errors. So first thing is that here the extent. So I need to create a extent object here. So what I will do here, private static, okay, extent reports extent. I'll create the same variable, and here what I will do, I have to get that what do you call extent what do you call the instance. Now if you would have watched my previous video, let me again go back to the extent manager. Here you can see get instance. I have told wherever you want the extent object, you have to get this you have to call this particular method. So the same thing, actually this is nothing but a kind of a getter and setter only. So here what do you call, here you are setting that extent object, and here you are getting the object like we have done the web driver. Okay. So here extent manager dot get instance. Okay, so that you got that. And here let's import this one. Fine, now the errors should go. Okay, now here test, as you can see here, I mean every time I can't just say that a test equal to create test, because this won't be a common. If I say get class, which class will come? This class will come. I don't need this one, because whenever I will execute the particular class, that class should come there. So what I will do here, I don't need this one. Okay, so here what you can do, so here we will now these two are my invoke method listeners like this ones. But we have some availability here test listeners. We will use that one actually. So now here what you can do. So for, here what you can do after invocation means as soon as your test case will what you call execution is done, what you can do, if here we will use the driver context. Okay, driver context dot get driver, because I need to close that particular browser, because as soon as your test case is done, execution is done, you have to close the browser. So here get try. So let's say if it is not null, then we have to explicitly quit that, so that it will close the browser. Okay. Now here you can do like this. Okay, this is after invocation. Okay, fine. Now here what we will do, on test start, now we will be worrying about, now here on test start, it means that see here, where is that? Yes, this one, right? Yeah. Okay, so as I told, as soon as your test will be executed, the before invocation will execute. Now this particular on test start, this will execute just after starting your execution. Okay, like this one, whenever what you call this particular method, when it will execute on test start, then it will go to the test success. If your test case is passed, then it will say that your test case is passed, this particular method will be executed. If it is failed, then this method. Now we need to write some logic on this start failure. Okay, here, this one, start, success and failure. Fine. Okay, now here what we will do, this test is there, right? We need this one, right, to send the logs. So we won't write here actually. So we have to, again we need to create a setters and getters for the test as well, like we have done for the extent. Okay, so let's create another class. Let's say extent test manager. Okay, see, don't get confused here, because see, to for the drivers getter and setter, I'm using driver context class. For the extent setup and get that extent instance, I'm using extent manager class. Extent test manager, what this will do, this will get the test. Here also what I'm doing, I'm setting the test object and I'm getting that. So wherever you need the test object, you have to call this method, as simple as that. So here what I will do, I'll create one variable here, again as we have done there. So let me go to the new line. So here private static, and here the same thing, extent reports. Okay, extent equal to extent manager, sorry, extent manager class dot get instance. Okay, see, here I'm getting the instance every time, I'm not creating an instance. So the same HTML report will hold the total, what do you call, total reports there. So here what I will do, static extent test, here I'll create a variable, that's it. Okay, now let's import this one as well. Okay, now here what I will do, I'll write the logic as we have done here. Let's see. Okay, I'll close this one so that it won't be confusing. Okay, so here I don't, okay, let's see here, this particular statement here, what I'm doing, I'm creating a test, right? Now this one, what I will do, I'll create one variable, a class here. So let me go to the extent test manager, and here what I will say, public static. Okay, and here what I will do, create test. Okay, this one I'll create a method. This is basically a setter actually, and here what I will do, I'll send two parameters here. One is your string test name. I'll show you that one, what exactly I'm doing, comma string description. Okay, description. Fine. Now here what I will do, this particular test, whatever object I have created, what I will do, I'll call this one extent dot create test. Okay, and here what I will do, I'll pass these two things, test name and description. Fine. Okay, that's it. Now here, this is my setter. Now I have to create a getter here, like public static extent test. So I'm just writing a logic for each and every object so that I can access everywhere that one. So here, as simple as that. Here I will just return this test. Which test? This particular test. Okay. Fine then. So my, what do you call, my test is done. Now what? I don't need this one here. So whatever I'm doing here, what I will do, I'll call into this on test start. Fine. Okay. I don't need this one now. Fine then. So here I'll call this, that test extent test manager, control space manager dot get test. Fine. Now here what I will do, I'll do a create test, and which will hold two things, right? So here you can see I'm getting the result here. So what I can do here, result dot get, here I'll see get method. Okay, get method dot get method name. Okay, so this will, what do you call, get me the method name, so that I need not to worry about in each, what do you call, I need not to write here, and it will give me the dynamic values. So which test case is running, that test case method directly it will give. The same thing I can get the description as well, so which is my second parameter. So here, instead of this, what I can do here, oops, let me, okay, get description, something will be there. Yeah, get description. Fine. Okay, so this is done. Now here what I can do, I can even print one thing here like this. Okay, get test dot, here I can send whatever logs I need, log or info. So let's say like this, info, and here what I can do, this one I can say plus started. I can customize whatever I need. Started like this. I can just print so that I will see that the method is now starting. Okay. So as soon as my what you call test case is run, now it will execute whatever logic I have written inside this. Then it will decide it is passing or failing. So for that, what I need to do again the same thing. I need to get, because every time I need the test object. Okay, and here what I will do, I'll put if so as I told, if the test is executed properly, then it will execute this on test success, which is my test case is passed. So I need to send that pass what you call pass level to my extend report. So what I will do here, I'll put a log here. Here you can see two parameters it need. One is status and another is some message. So let's say log here status dot pass. Okay, like this, and then markup. So here, I mean, you can just say whatever you want. Test case passed, something you can say like this. Okay, the same thing if it is failing. So if let's say in some case if your test case is getting failed, then here instead of pass you can just say fail, and here I need some more information like this. So test failed because of, oops, because of, here plus what I can do, result dot get throwable will be there. Let's see, yes, so it will give me the message why exactly the test case is failing, and these things you can implement as you wish and you can leave as it is also. Fine. Now here one more thing what you can do, at the end here extend dot flush, so that it will write to the HTML there like we have done in the after test. Okay, so even now we don't need this one also because we have already done that one. Okay, so now here even I don't need, so you can see the before test and after test is not required because the testNGListener will take care of that. How simple is that? Now here even I don't need this one as well, so here I can just close this one. And now here you can see I don't have any of these objects because everything is now getters and setters only. So I need not to declare any objects here. So instead of this, what I will do, instead of test, extend test manager. Okay, dot get test. Fine. Now wherever I need, I have to do this one. And here I have to execute like this. Now here no driver, now driver dot sorry, driver context dot get driver. Fine. Okay, like this I need to do. So wherever I need, I need to give this value here, and then this one here, and this one here. Fine. Okay, so everything is done. Now see how neat and clean it looks like. So everything is what you call they have their own generic what you call methods are set. Now anywhere you want to access you can use that. Now one more thing, just a extra what do you call information. Here I have hard coded this one if it is Chrome driver or the URL. So these things you can use just a simple what you call, you can create another class which will hold the config properties. You can read that, and based on that value you can read it, so which is out of scope for this video. So while making a framework you can just do. So here I'm just showing you a mini framework where you can start what you call listeners, and then you have to have your own testng class, and then you can execute the test cases. Fine. Okay, so everything is done. So let me close everything and then quickly recap whatever we have done for today. Now here driver.context, it is very simple, just a setter and getter for the driver object. Fine. Extent manager, we have seen in our previous video, we didn't change much to this. Okay, just it is giving a create instance and get instance, that's it. Okay, You can ignore this main method I have just written to for reference only. Extend test manager, this is new for this video because to get the test object that we have done, so that nowhere in your framework you have to what you call like this create an object. So wherever you need, you can just call this particular method of that class. Test listeners, this is new. So instead of writing in each test class, testng class, I have declared the what you call testng listeners. Okay, and this is my updated testng class. So whether it is you have what you call one test case, 100 test case, or 1,000 test cases, you need not to worry about anything actually. Just focus on your functionality, the actual functionality. You need not to worry about how the setup is done, how it is done, because everything will be taken care by the utility methods that we have created already. So we will execute this one. Okay, so we have this testng xml here, extend report, and this is test sample extend listener, right? So this will be, so this is listeners. Okay, so this class we need to execute. So before to that, we will here mention one more thing, that is listeners, because see, whenever we are using testng listener, we have to mention the element as a listeners. Under that we need to specify everything. So what I will do here, I'll say one listener. So let me go to here and listeners. Okay, here again another one here, listener. Okay, and class is equal to, let me give this one and then change it. Fine, and here double quote inside extend report test listeners, that's it. Okay, just mention this much only. Fine, so everything is ready. Now let's try to run this one. Oops, here I need to give like this so that it will be end up that particular tag. This is small letter. Okay, so here one problem with the test listeners I've done, that is a typo here, or one error here. I need to create that test. Okay, so that, so here create a test, and then I have to mention all these things. So directly I was using the get test, that's why it was throwing error. So now let me run it. Okay, so my browser is opening. Let me resize this browser. Okay, fine. So everything got executed here. Now here you can see some session got refresh this project. Okay, and open this extend HTML, refresh this one. Now here you can see. Okay, so let me go to here. Now here you can see. Okay, so check sign up page is my what you call the test case that I'm using here, and then it is saying that go to here, and it is saying the check sign up page started, and this is coming from my listeners here, whichever I, let me give a space here. So this is my result, the get method name, and started. Here you can see started, and then it is giving me the what you call the info or the logs that I have put, site title after clicking this link, and here you can see why the test case failed, and here this is coming from here. If the test case is failing, then it is giving me this one, test failed because of some reason, so that you need not to worry about that. And here failing because I have sent the status as a test.log status is failing. Okay, now let me quickly try a pass scenario and see how it is happening. Okay, so here let's run this one. So site is opening, and then it will click on that particular link, verify the title, and then close this application. Okay, now So here you can see the total test pass and failure is 0. But let me see the extent report to verify. So here click on this. Here you can see if I refresh, here you can see, okay, the sign up page started. That is my test case. Site title is this one, site title, and test case passed. Okay, so like this. So here I have only one test case. So here you can see I have only one test case. If you have multiple number of test cases, so that many reports it will generate here like this. So to just what I can do here, let me open into a browser. So here you can see that one. Fine. Okay, a complete view of that, how many steps, how many info you have put, and the last one is passed. Okay, and here is the complete, and here, even here you can what you call attach a screenshot. So let me show you one thing here. So let's say if your test case got failed, so here what you can do, as soon as the test case will fail, here you can write the logic, or else you can what you call write a logic to send the screenshot, to create a screenshot and return that path. Remember, we have seen in our previous video, let me show you that one. That is extend manager right here. So this is, so this line you can execute actually. You can use this one, test.add screen capture from path. And here you have to write the logic to create a screenshot. And so that method will return the, what do you call, that method will return the path, so that this particular statement will attach a screenshot at the end here like this. Okay, so that's all about your extent report combining with your what you call testNGListeners, so that you can use in your framework without much change. Okay, so in one of the video we have seen how to use the log4j. So what you can do, even so I have shown in that video how to use the log4j into the test listeners. Okay, now you can use both the logs and the extent report logs into here. Okay, so like that also you can do. Okay, so hope that helps. So stay tuned and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for watching.